Enregistrement est en cours.
So welcome everybody on this very special day for two reasons. The main reason is that we have Daniele Rosario from Italy and above all from ZOOlanders Essentials with the famous ZOOlanders Essentials. The second special reason is that today is a day off in many countries. I don't know the name in English, but Hemelvaart in Dutch, Ascension in French, etc. So it's really nice to see that we are so many on this occasion. So today Daniele will cover will make an overview of ZOOlanders Essentials, and actually it could be a day. It should be a ZOOlanders Day or something, because there are so many features in ZOOlanders Essentials alone, and things which have nothing to do necessarily with each other, between the forms, between the icons and sources and stuff like that. So very different things. So we'll make an overview of that. And at the end, we'll also have questions and answers. Officially, the session is in total 1 hour. But if some people want to continue to chat, I can leave the room open. But then I stop the recording so that if people have to go, we always know that in 1 hour we are done. Anything to add, Rachel? Okay, thanks. So, Daniele, the floor is yours. And thank you for being there today.
Thank you. First thing first, you hear me, right? Because sometimes the microphone goes on and off, and I'm just checking.
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Yeah, great. So thank you for having me. First, this is the most important thing. And as you said, yes, sometimes I even forgot what's in Essentials, because we put there so many different small things that sometimes I need to check back myself. So thank you for the great introduction. I'll be sending a couple of surveys in the chat just to have a slight overview of the audience and knowing which kind of people, jobs are present in the room. So if you want during the session, feel free to fill them out so I can maybe later look at it. Hi, Million. There is the other part of ZOOlanders somewhere in your wall there. So bear with me, William, if I say something that's not correct. So highlights. I prepared a very, very small presentation, I promise, which is basically what I've already showcased at the last YOOtheme Day in September in Hamburg, with the additions of things that are that have been added and the new shiniest updates we did since September. So without further ado, let's go and share the correct screen, which is usually not the easy thing to do.
While you're sharing your screen, so if you want to answer to the poll that Daniele has just sent, just click on the icon for the chat. And in the chat, there are two tabs, one for chat, one for polls. And so you can just put your answer there.
I'm having some trouble to share the slides because it goes full screen. Give me a second. This could be the best way to do it. Yes. Okay. So if I'm right, you should see the screen. So
it's white. We see your sharing, but it's
I can see the ZOOlander on the red background.
Yeah, that was my fault. I clicked outside the window. ZOOlanders. So who am I? I'm Daniele. I'm from Italy. I co-founded together with Dario, my business partner, and Million, which is in the chat, ZOOlanders as a side project in what, 15 years ago or something. We have an agency in Italy called Webble. We do custom client work from Joomla to custom development, marketing, etc. And from these daily necessities, we developed some plugins for Joomla and YOOtheme Zoo at the time. And we met with Million that was doing something similar on his own. So we decided to share the experience and create this new company where we provide extensions for YOOtheme software. Fast forward, we now focus mainly on essentials for YOOtheme Pro, but we also still maintain the Zoo part. And my presentation is basically focused on how you can use essentials to build custom workflows and various types of integrations. So these are me and Million. No, that's a joke, but I use it often. So this is why it's here. Last year we were at the YOOtheme Community Day in Hamburg, and we made this recap, which is what changed in the last year and a half in essentials. So even 18 months ago, we had a lot of stuff going on with essentials, which was already a lot. As you can see, and as Mark said before, we provide a lot of different tools within our package that can be grouped into what we call add-ons, which are basically form, sources, access, dynamic layout, and icons. They are targeted of adding new features to the YOOtheme Pro builder and cover different areas altogether. Since that time, we added a lot of new stuff. So September last year, we mainly added the 4.5 compatibility to YOOtheme Pro and added a brand new composed sources feature, which I will showcase in my showcase part of the talk. We have the new sources and we keep adding them, which is one of the cool things of Essentials structure. It's very dynamic and can be implemented with new feature very quickly. And we have the new icon collections. We did some tweaking under the hood for small improvements and added new form actions to the whole system. Since then, we added a new measure. We released a new measure version. What's the new measure version for us? Basically, we added the compatibility to the new version of YOOtheme Pro, version 5, which was a big change under the hood and allowed us to move forward with some advanced features and code-related stuff that we were keeping stuck for this reason. We also followed YOOtheme on deprecating old version of Joomla, so we are now only 5 and 6 compatible. And the major new things that we added was that we refactored how forms work within Essentials. So we now have a dedicated form element for those that already used Essentials in the past. The forms were previously just an add-on to existing elements. So you could have like a section or a row in the builder or even a sub-layout. And you can say to the system, you could say to the system, this is a form, and then that particular element would become a form. In the new iteration, we moved all of that into a dedicated element, which of course was migrated from the existing ones, which is a new element called form, in which we brought together all the features that were previously in this customized section of the elements. We also reworked entirely the whole CAPTCHAs part of the forms and added support to the new proof of work plugin in Joomla 6.1 for the CAPTCHAs. We also made a small addition, but it's very interesting, and I will showcase it later on, in which we allowed form actions to do not stop execution of subsequent form actions if they fail. So for example, what could happen is that you have a form that stores data in a CSV file or database file and sends an email. And previously, if the sending of the email failed, it could have stopped the storing of the data within the database if the action was in the wrong order. So first the sending, then the storing. With this feature, we can ignore the error and store the log of that and continue execution anyway, so the user doesn't see any error and you still get the rest of the action going on without troubles. We also added news sources. This is the big place where we did a lot of stuff, mainly Million here. So we added a new Google Place source, which allows you to display Google Place data in any site without being the owner of that particular Google My Business page. Of course, you can showcase less data, but it's still very relevant and way easier to integrate. We also added the big new feature, which is the integration with Joomla API source and WordPress API source. What does this mean? That you can show in any site data from other sites through the usage of the APIs of Joomla and WordPress, which is very cool. A lot of people asked for in the past. We also updated some existing sources to add new features like the Facebook events and the LinkedIn events one. We finally added new stuff called for the actions. The most interesting one, I'll showcase that later, is the webhook action. And we added also the delete action for the existing CSV database and Google Sheet actions. We did a major overhaul of the site that you probably didn't see because the site looks the same, but we switched completely the subscription component. So we built a custom subscription component for dealing with our customers, and we based it on our tools, so our form actions and sources, with an integration with Stripe. And we also, of course, upgraded the whole setup to use our latest tools as well, because we use our own tools in our own site, so it doesn't actually make sense to stay updated. What's next? As I'll explain later during the showcase of the integrations, we explore a lot of different avenues and don't commit to specific features until we are sure that they are working as we want and they are interesting for our customers. So we have a ton of feature branches in our tool where we test tons of different stuff, and they may or may not be present in the next versions of Essentials. So to know what we are working on or what people asked us to work on, we have a public roadmap. We try to keep that up to date. It's not easy. So it may not always reflect the real status of the things, but we try our best to do that. So slides are done, and I'll pass to the real part of the presentation, which is using the builder and our tools within it. So let me just check quickly in the chat for some answers to the surveys. Great. So first thing I wanted to showcase was the concept of sources in Essentials, that it's powering a lot of stuff that we do also in our agency side. As you know, the builder provides dynamic content, and the concept allows you to load data in a page that's not statically written in the builder itself, but comes from Joomla articles or third-party components. We built a new system 3-4 years ago that allows for these sources to be dynamic themselves. So the user of the website can create new sources from the backend, starting from various type of data, and are all present within the Essentials toolset. And here I have a couple, small spoiler here, but I won't speak about that until the last part of the talk. So for example, here I have a schedule source, which comes from Google Sheets. So what people can do is to select from any of these sources, which are constantly being updated and upgraded, to show and pull data in from external providers. In this case, I selected a Google Sheet source that pulls in a specific Google Sheet. Could be a database table, could be a CSV table, could be Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and display part of that data in your site. So in this case, I create a scheduled Google Sheet, which connects with my Google account to a specific spreadsheet. I declared where the data was used on. And from this spreadsheet, I was able to pull in this data. I'll showcase the builder part so you can see. So this table has a dynamic content, as you can see. The dynamic content is the newly available schedule record source. And I want to list at maximum 50 rows from the Google Sheet. I can, sorry, click the wrong button. I can also filter stuff. So for example, I can decide to showcase only part of this data. Then I choose which columns I want to show into the table, and these are all the columns from the Google Sheet. Just to show the original file here, this is the original file. So the columns becomes new fields, and you can pull data from here as you see fit. This works in the same way for any of the other sources. And you can pull, for example, videos from your YouTube channel. You can pull posts from your Facebook page, your Instagram page. You could have a custom database table where you store data from your customers and showcase them inside, etc., etc. So this is one of the most powerful features we have, and we keep updating it. So you'll see more of these in the future. From the other side, just to follow up on what's being asked on the chat also, we also have the same concept relating to forms. So when you build a form, you can have an action that through the same integration, let's say Google Sheet, just to mention one, you could say that when someone submits a form, that form inserts a new record within a Google Sheet that you already have. So it's working both ways. You can pull data from the Google Sheet or the database or the CSV, whatever, and you can also update it using a form action. So I can try to showcase it live, which is very, very dangerous, but let me try and see how badly I fail at this. So I'm adding a new section here, and as I said before, we added a new form, a new element called form system. So it's a new dedicated element, which is just a sub layout for intents and purposes, where you can build the layout within it. You can also put stuff that's not form stuff, so text, headlines, whatever, is just a sub layout. And you can set actions and other stuff related to the form. So let's do this experiment together. Let's do a form with a field, a text field. Let's call it email. no, let's call it name or whatever. Let's make it mandatory. As you can see, you can have a lot of settings for each field. So you can control validation. You can control labels. So you can say text. This follows the styling of the UIKit forms. You can have placeholders. You can have attributes. You can make it read-only, etc., etc. So it's very, very in-depth and thought about. We can also add a new form button, which would be the submit one. Let's do it. Save to Google Sheet. And now let's hope I'm able to do it. Add action. We can do Google Sheet upsert. It's called upsert because you can insert, update, or both, depending on how you set it. So it's just one action that does both things. Let's reuse my Google Auth. And this was called YOOtheme. Okay, schedule. Let's put it in the first sheet. And as you can see, as soon as I pick the spreadsheet, it lets me know in which one of these sheets I want to save it on. And then based on this selection, it pulls the columns from the sheet here automatically. And as you can see, I can map data within each one of these. So I'll try to set here a value. I could set a static value, which is fine, but it's not very interesting. Or I can put a form value, so the text field coming from the form, and that's done. You can also use our compose source stuff to mix and match the two. So you can click this, and now this is a composable thingy where you can write your stuff, add dynamic stuff, and then add another dynamic stuff. Let's say request timestamp, for example. Or you can also use conditions to say only if something happens or some value, append the string, otherwise do something else. So it's very, very dynamic and very composable. Now I save, and now it's the moment of truth. Let me just see how badly I failed at this. Example number 1. Save the Google Sheet. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I forgot a thing. This one, classic mistake. So things can be populated but disabled, as you saw, and I knew I was missing something. So you could prepare something and not enable it, or disable temporarily something without losing the mapping. It allows you to play around with it. Let's really try again. This is the danger of live stuff. But I like dangerous stuff, so no. Let's try that. Yeah. So now, as you can see, live, the new row was added with the mix and match data I put in. So coming from the form, static, and dynamic from the date. So you can, this is a very stupid example, of course, but you can think that the workflow you can build is very, very powerful and different. So this is one of the many features that you can do. Of course, you can add more than one action to the same form. So potentially you could save to Google Sheets, send an email to yourself, send an email to the client, display a message after that happens, etc., etc. You can also group actions. This is a new feature we had added not long ago. So you can create a group of action within which you can add more than one action. This is very useful when combined with stuff like access and execution conditions, since you can also decide when an action can run. And you can say, send an email only if the person has set an email within the form or stuff like that. And maybe that condition applies to more than one of your actions. Grouping them allows you to set the condition once and apply them to the entire group of actions. So a condition is based on rules that you can add, and same as before, we have a lot of options here. And you can say only if the dynamic value of the form text is not empty, so it's a reverse evaluation, run the action within here. And here we also provide an evaluation example. So this is for external integrations and forms and sources. I'll let you ask questions later on, so I'm plowing through and going on. Switching topics, compose sources. We, as you saw before, expanded the concept of the builder, where you can map data by adding a concept of content composition. So in this example, and I have another one later on, we have the classic blog coming from YOOtheme. So this is like one of the YOOtheme demos. This data is written here manually. And that's fine, there's no issue with that. You can also pull that data dynamically, so this is also core YOOtheme. These data comes from the Joomla article source. So it's all the articles within this demo site. But as you can see, in some fields, we just pull data in with the field like title. But in some other places, like the meta here, we have some custom HTML where we put in, using composed sources, some dynamic data. So for example, here I'm using it to display custom stuff in the meta part, where the data, the date of the blog post is not just a string, but it's a custom HTML element, not custom, an HTML element called time that prints out the time to do a better job with microdata. And also the name of the category is not just the name, but it's a real link that you can click and goes to the category link of the page. So this allows you to really mix and match without having to create custom elements within the builder. How do you use it? You just use composed, and this area here becomes a fully editable composable source, and you can write whatever you want. Yeah, if I can also maybe write something sentient and add dynamic stuff coming from, let's say, the single node author, whatever, or you can also delete this tag. You can edit it. You can do a lot of different stuff. So request whatever URL host or whatever. So this part here is printed out from the source. We use this a lot, not only for UI purposes, but for more advanced stuff. I don't know how many of you know about JSON schema, but this is basic stuff for SEO purposes, which allows you to write a script that allows for better indexing of the page. And it's usually done like this. You include a script. Joomla has a core features for this, for the articles, where you specify what the page is talking about or what the page represents. And in this type of instances, the composed sources come in handy, because you can just print out the entire script and decide that this piece here, which is the name of the event in this case, can come from the current article, for example. And then you have a fully dynamic JSON schema for each article, and combined with the templates from YOOtheme allows you to really enhance what you can do with the dynamic content. Next thing I want to showcase, and this answers some question I saw before in the chat, is integration, custom integration that we do not provide, or extensive integration, for example, using forms. Here we added a new feature to the form where one of the actions we provide is this webhook actions. This allows you to call an external webhook, an external URL, using the data from the form. And the feature that I like, the scenarios that this feature unlocks for me that are the most useful is the integration with tools like Zapier, Make.com, Zooflow, etc., where you can build custom flows using their connector. So the idea here is, for example, the one I saw before was, can I integrate Bravo within the form of Essentials? So a person use a form to fill his email, and when this form is submitted, I want it to be part of my Bravo, MailChimp, whatever, list as a subscriber. And if for MailChimp, for example, we provide a direct action, so we can do that with a native action. But if we don't provide that, you can still do it, and it's pretty easy, because you can just use, for example, in this case, I'm using make.com, which, of course, I unlocked. Sorry, just a sec. Okay. I use make.com. I create a scenario or whatever is called in your tool of choice, where whenever I receive a webhook, I do stuff. In this case, I subscribe to Zoho campaigns, to Bravo, whatever. And the webhook is just an URL that they provide me to. So I just copy this thingy here and use it in my webhook action. I say I want to post to it in JSON, and using again the composed sources again from before, I just post a JSON with those two data, and that will come in here, trigger the Zoho campaigns subscriber, and be done with it. And you can also add new stuff. So, for example, you can add, I don't know, Google Sheet again, or you can add Bravo or whatever, like send an SMS or whichever thing you want to think about. So this is like the ultimate unlocker. So if you need to integrate with external tools, the webhook action is the one that allows you to basically use any external web tool to build the missing piece of the integration. You can also use our tool to build forms that you receive from third parties. A classic example is if a customer has a CRM, whatever, like Salesforce or, I don't know, Zoho or whichever you have, they usually provide you with a ready-made form, which they give you in HTML. Like this, take this HTML, put it on the site, and whenever the user submits that, goes into the CRM. The issue with that is usually the form is ugly as hell because it has the core styling of the CRM and doesn't fit within your website. So what you have to do to make it look good is to manually edit all the fields with classes, CSSs to make it fit the website. In Essentials, you can rebuild the entire form here using the form. So you can just do the single fields as you want. and you just need to fit the names of the single field to be the same of the one they provide to you in the HTML they exported to you. And instead of using the actions that we provide, which, as you can see, are empty, you just say, don't use the action, just use the action I give to you, which is what the form HTML has in its HTML, and you are ready to go. It's basically just a layout builder for the form that works with whatever form you want to replicate. This is another feature that we use extensively when clients have third-party services that we need to integrate with custom HTML. It's also easy to create new stuff using our stuff. So we also tend to build a lot of custom elements outside of Essentials when it's like a one-off thingy. And I just put them a list here together. So for example, here I have a custom element that writes custom text that changes using GSAP. And you can just specify the various text stuff that changes. Or you can write an action that prints out a PDF of the page that you are visiting, like an export to PDF stuff. Or you can build an element that calculates the reading time of the page based on how much content there is on the page and on an average reading time, etc., etc. So it's really something that you can customize very easily and add stuff if you know a little bit of PHP and JavaScript. So this is some of the things you can do. And now I wanted to close the talk with some, not spoilers, because it's not a spoiler really. It's some of the things that, as I said, we are investigating. One of the things we are investigating is integrating with e-commerce solutions. The thing we are mostly investigating right now is Shopify, which we are investigating as a kind of source and action combo, where you can pull data from the Shopify store and display the product data as a catalog on your site using the builder. So we built a proof of concept of that, and it's working pretty well. We are evaluating the next steps on this. But basically, it allows you to create a new Shopify source, connect it with your Shopify store using the storefront key API. And with that, you get, this is not part of Essentials, of course, yet. You get a source, as any other source, Shopify products, that you can then map to the builder using all the data coming from the Shopify product, like vendor, price, description, variations, status, whatever it is. And you can also use our form tool to add an item to the cart, because we built an action that adds a specific product to the Shopify cart of the user using the same connection and the same product area quantity. This can also be dynamic. So if I want to add the form here that adds this specific product to the cart, I will just use dynamic and use that product ID as a way to store that. You can also showcase the items in the cart. So you also have a Shopify cart item source that you can use to show all the items in the cart. So we are testing out this integration to see how far we can bring it, if it's interesting, if it's too hard to use, etc., etc. We also, as I said before, use the same concept to build our own site. So whenever you try to buy our tools, what's happening behind the scenes is that the subscribe button, let me log in a second so you can see. whenever you log in here and you decide to buy whatever plan it is, this button here is actually an essentials form with a custom action that prepares a Stripe checkout and redirects you to a Stripe checkout. So whenever I click this is a form action and it redirects to Stripe checkout. So we are also investigating Stripe and other stuff. Last thing is before my Q&A, I'm pretty on time. My God, never happened to me. Another thing we are investigating is direct integration with CRMs. So for example, here we have an integration with Zoho. We are Zoho partners at Webble, so we chose this one as a starting point. So we also created a new Zoho CRM action that authenticates with your CRM. You can insert whichever record of your CRM you want and any field you want to save, similar to the previous Google Sheet one, using the APIs of the CRM, because usually forms integrate also with these kind of tools. So this is some of the things that you can build with our tools. I want to leave as much time as possible to the questions. So if Mark agrees, I would stop here and let people ask the questions they want to ask. Feel free to go. So if you want to moderate, Mark, feel free to do so. Let me know what you want to do, and I'll do.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much for this overview. And I'm sure we could spend the whole day.
Yeah.
We would not have covered everything yet. Some people were very active in the chat already, so it's good that Million could answer.
Yeah. Thank you, Million. I was looking at the chat and then saw Million reply, and I said, okay, I'll let Million reply.
Maybe, if I may, I will shoot the first to show the example, and afterwards people can continue with the questions. You showed a very nice example of JSON schema.org thing. And I was thinking, for example, to put the Google review on the website to say, hey, we have 4.7 out of 5. That can be very nice, for example, just one example. But here you were displaying it in a code element. But how do you inject that schema.org in the head of the page?
You don't need for it to be in the head. You can place it anywhere in the page you want. So for it to be compliant, so it doesn't matter where you put it, because you can actually put it multiple times in the page, because it can be the schema of the page or the schema of a piece of element in the page, like if you have a list of products. So we usually don't put it into the head if we use the dynamic part of stuff, of course, and put it wherever we feel it belongs, usually at the start or the end of the page. And we don't use the code element, we just use the
HTML.
The HTML element. And for example, here I could transform it to
so even if it's
HTML.
not if it's not in the head itself,
it works.
It's still good, because of course, if you are speaking about 7 events or 5 products, then there is a schema for each event or each product. But here what I had in mind was more a global schema.org for the whole page.
You can still put it into the body. It doesn't really affect.
Okay. Okay, good to know.
So that's the main usage. You usually don't do it for static pages, because it's not the hard part, but we do it, for example, for catalogs. So maybe you have Joomla articles that represent products, and you have all the data of the product within the Joomla interface, and you want to use a specific schema type, which is maybe not article, but it's, I don't know, product, or the specific product like book or whatever. Then you can just copy paste the schema from JSON schema.org or whatever, and fill the pieces using your data, and you're done. It's super easy also to explain to a client, because it's just within the builder. So if they have a sales specialist, they can tweak it, and it still works. So, and you can use all the filters. So if you have a date, you can format the date which you want, with the format that the schema.org wants. So it's really flexible.
Yeah, indeed. With composed sources,
you can do whatever. So this is a date, for example. So you can take this date and do like source, article, publish date. This is a date, so you can modify it like with the format, the modifier, the replace, whatever. So you can really do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Yes, sorry. The other thing was the Google My Business data. That's a source. You can have two ways of doing that. The first one is if you own the page, so you are a user of the Google My Business organization, you can use the Google My Business source, the official one. This allows you to integrate the full-blown data you have in Google My Business, everything. You don't have any limit. And you can also, of course, use the aggregate review data. If you don't own the page, or if you don't need the private data, there is a simpler way, which is the Google Places one. You don't need to be owner. You just need a Google API key, and you're done. And you just search for the place here with the classic search, ZOOlanders search, and it will pull the public data from Google My Business, which is the same data you see on Google when you search for a company on the Google page.
So the reviews would be included as well, like
you would have the high level data of the reviews, which means the aggregate rating and the last 5 reviews, I guess. I think it was. Okay. But you cannot do more than 5, because then you need to be the owner to. Yeah. Okay. Same with the photos. You can get the last, I don't know, 10 photos or something. But it's basically the public available data that you see on the page. That's publicly available. You can fetch it whenever you want.
Okay. Maybe if Milian wants to summarize some questions he answered in the chat, Milian, you're welcome to join. It's your party as well.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you also for Daniel for taking over and explaining all this so well. In the chat, we were not speaking too much, but it was more basically about answering some few questions. Let me check. Okay, one question that was for later is AI going to be integrated? Well, in ZOOlanders, we are not working on AI, but we know that YOOtheme is. So hopefully that part will be done in the core, and we will just extend to make it understand all ZOOlanders part to this AI. We still don't know how or when is this going to be. We just know that everybody knows, already saw the YOOtheme is all into AI. So we have as many questions as you do, but we'll see what they bring to the table, and then we will adapt.
Yeah, actually, I must confess one thing. I don't have any privileged information about what YOOtheme meant with this little post with just one image. AI is coming into YOOtheme, but I saw on Discord or other places that there were that people were discussing that a lot, like what they want, what they don't want, and blah blah blah. So many different views, of course. So I thought maybe I should ask YOOtheme, do you want to step up and to come to one of the next meetings, monthly sessions to explain it? But it's not mature enough. It's not ready for more details in a public session. So they are still working internally. But of course, as soon as they are ready, I will be happy to ask them again if they want to make a special session here in the YOOtheme user group. That would be interesting. But so, okay, I have absolutely no privileged information, but I will be very happy to know what they come up with.
Yes.
So to elaborate on that, we don't usually investigate things that we know YOOtheme is doing, because for obvious reason of not doing twice the same thing. So when we heard that YOOtheme was already on top of that, we said, let's wait and see, and then we can extend as we just said.
Yeah, yes. And somebody was asking at the last Joomla Days Netherlands, when the idea of this YOOtheme user group was born, actually, with Rachel. Someone during Rachel's session about YOOtheme was asking, oh yeah, I want to create layouts with AI. How can I do that? And actually, YOOforged, 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 has a tool for that. So if you're interested, like, to build layouts, I don't know what YOOtheme itself will come up with, but if you need things like translating pages, layouts, or creating layouts based on your description, that's already available with YOOforged.
I also saw a question on the Microsoft SQL source as a database driver for our database source. We investigated that. For now, we don't have any plan, because the reasoning behind it is we are relying on whichever driver for the database is available on the CMS. So for WordPress, that means MySQL, and that's it. For Joomla is slightly more broader as a list of drivers. But since we deploy for both, I think like a new Microsoft SQL Server driver would need to be for both platforms, and that would require us to build from scratch the driver for the database, which is a big effort. So we are still not sure if that will come into Essentials or not, because it will have a lot of burden and complications to maintaining such an integration. So for now, no. It's something that we had to do in the past. And it was way easier to just add a new driver to the CMS and then relying on that as if it was the normal database from the CMS, basically. But that's it for now.
Yeah. Anyone? Any question about ZOOlanders Essentials?
Yeah.
Yeah, please go.
Bravo. So what I have now is, like, I created all the fields in Bravo. I synced them. What I would like to do for a taxman is synchronize those fields to their program. And why is that? Because Bravo is certified, like on a high level, and my Joomla website is not. So I would create a custom field to synchronize with Bravo, which is possible. I already have a plugin for that, but not like I would like to use Essentials for it. And Bravo would synchronize it up to that taxman program. It's called DATEV. So what can Bravo exactly do? Sign up form, or can you show me a little bit what Bravo can do, how to set it up, or show a layout, or let me download the layout? Is that possible?
I'm not sure I follow, because Bravo is like MailChimp, right? It's a mix of a mailing marketing automation system and a CRM. It's an hybrid. So what ZOOlanders could help you do is pull data from Bravo, like showcase it on the site, like a list of subscribers or a list of newsletters or whatever, or send data to Bravo from, for example, a form though. So
yes, and that form, those would be the custom fields from Joomla. You can synchronize them to Bravo, and Bravo could further.
This is where I'm missing you.
It doesn't matter. So as long as we can connect to Bravo, to the custom fields that you can make over there, and then connect them to the Joomla fields, which is possible because I have a plugin for it, but it is not so sophisticated. But can you show me how to connect Bravo? Can you show a little bit more? Because I have a hard time to find it at all. I cannot find it in Essentials.
You cannot do it in Essentials natively currently because there is no Bravo action, right, Million? Or there is?
No, we have.
Okay, sorry. And this is one of the cases where we have too many things.
I'm a sophisticated user, so yeah.
The auth part, it's either in the source or in the form. So you can, form here.
Yeah, form, exactly.
Yeah, so let's do form, whatever. You can add an action, whatever, Bravo. Whichever you use doesn't matter. It just allows you to, sorry, disconnected. Forms, actions, add action, Bravo, upsert. And then here, this is authentication. You can do so, and you can use the API key. They have two modes you can read about in their documentation. And here you put your Bravo API key. This creates the auth, we call it auth, that interacts with the APIs.
Why is that not in the sources? Why is
because
it
we don't
action?
Because for now we only have the form action. We don't have a source to pull data from Bravo, because the data you would pull from Bravo to show on a website usually is like the lists of contacts you have for some reason, but it's a very niche use case. But you can still use the API if you can develop in PHP, because this gives you like an API class that you can use to query stuff from Bravo. For example, the lists endpoint is available. You can use it, but we don't provide a source for Bravo yet. It's something that it's a bit niche in my opinion, because usually people don't showcase.
Even YOOtheme is using Bravo, right?
Yeah, but you send data to Bravo. Usually don't pull data from Bravo in a website because it.
Wait. You send it from the website to Bravo because on the website, the forms are changing. If you have customers that change their forms, then it is sending to Bravo.
Yeah, that's
the cool part. Yeah, exactly. And then the cool part about Bravo is that they are certified on a higher level, so that you can connect with another system that demands a certification, and not from your Joomla website.
Yeah,
so that's why suddenly this Bravo is very interesting, only because of their certification. Why would I else do that over Bravo, right? And since they are European, I believe, and GDPR and all that, that's why everybody's using that. Not that I so like Bravo so much. You could also use MailChimp, which is, I think, a little bit easier. But if you dig a little bit through Bravo, it's okay. But the cool part is that I can now connect to that Taxman program, and there are some Germans that really make my life difficult if it is about certification. But if they hear Bravo, then they're suddenly okay, right? Yeah. So that is where it comes from. Yeah. So now for me, it's very important to connect to Bravo and make some kind of master-slave system.
You can send data to Bravo currently with integration. So if you need to pull data from Bravo, you would need to write some custom piece on top of our authentication system.
But reach me in Discord and tell me more about this use case. I can check it out. If we can understand the use case, then maybe we can make the source even limited to what it makes sense, because we already have the integration. Making just the source is actually not complicated.
Yeah, so if this would work, you would have a power tool, because it's a very, very cheap and smart way to work
Okay.
on a very high certified level.
Okay.
So
Tell me more about that in private, and I will check it out for sure.
Yeah.
Other questions from other people?
Yeah, in the chat.
We already answered about the Microsoft SQL. And I mean,
yeah, I don't see any more questions different from
try to answer everything. I don't know.
Or turn on your microphone and speak up if you have a question. Don't be shy.
Danielle, we could maybe show the composite actions, like we are.
Give me an example, so I can better provide. Help you with the screen, or if you want to.
No, you don't have the video.
I don't have it right
you don't
now.
have it yet.
Yeah, I don't have it right now. So that's why I didn't prepare it. It was too long to reach that point in my testing ground.
Well, yeah, basically what we are exploring is that in the composite source itself, you could add kind of like functions.
I can showcase something similar, like.
Yeah, it's actually it's very similar to what. Yes.
Let's see if I can do this. Yeah, in some way. So it's something similar to what Make does here with the functions.
Yes.
So within Compose, you could do something like floor. This is a function that you can put a value in here. And if you have like 15.4, it will do 15.
Oh, yeah.
And this can be combined with the dynamic sources. So you can put another source here, like the email, I don't know, whatever. And it will compute the function with the value that you pass it in. We already have the UI for this. It works very well. We're just thinking if it's something worth it, if there is some other stuff to put on that, but we have some very advanced proof of work with that done by Millions. So it's another piece of the Compose source. I don't know if I missed something on that, Million, if you want to elaborate.
No, that's it. Yeah. Basically, that's the functionality. But it's very powerful.
Yeah.
Yes. Tell me, Mark.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a little conclusion so that if some people have to go, because we have 1 hour officially planned session, and afterwards, if people want to stay, to chat, whatever, the room stays open, of course. But so that I can make the conclusion, stop the recording, and then people are free to speak. So what I wanted to ask you, will you be there at the Joomla World Conference in October? Milian or Daniele?
Let Milian answer first.
Yeah, most likely, yes. I'm going to do everything possible to be there.
Okay, that would be nice, because anyway, it will be a very interesting event for the Joomla users. It's the first conference since Rome in 2017. So it's it's a while ago. And so if you are there, we will be pleased to meet you and to speak more about Essentials and the other things that you are doing.
Definitely.
Also, our next session, YOOtheme, I close the page, YOOtheme.joomla.group. Our next session, and then we have to plan the other ones, will be here by Thomas about YOOtheme, which is an API mapper bridging the gap between external data and YOOtheme Pro. So we'll speak about API stuff. He had the beta version until a few weeks ago, so it's very nice now. It's not beta anymore; it's in production. So I have not used it myself yet, but it sounds very interesting to make the link with external tools, with APIs. And then with Rachel, we will see what we can program for the future sessions. If you have any suggestions of good topics, we will be happy to hear it. So feel free to contact us. Our details are available at the bottom of the website, YOOtheme.joomla.group. Anything else to say, Rachel?
I don't think so, not at the moment. Just
And yeah, one topic we'd like to speak about is in YOOtheme Pro 5, one of the new features is the cookie thing. So the cookie management tool. So if somebody has for a basic use, we don't need a session, but for more advanced uses, it would be nice to cover that, because there is not much documentation and it can be tricky. So if somebody feels like to step up as speaker, we'll be very happy. Otherwise, maybe Rachel was also ready to investigate further to share our knowledge. And yeah, so feel free to get in touch for other topics that you would like to see on the agenda. Yeah, Rachel?
Yes.
Anything else?
No, you said it all.
Okay.
I have one more question about the cookies before we end the session. Is that possible?
Yeah.
So if you want to connect to the Google Maps, which was just explained, as I already sent some links to show Google Business reviews on the bottom of the page. You can also just connect to your Google Business and show some information, also the times of operation, for example, which are updated via the Google Business entry. When we do that, when we connect to the APIs or the sources, are there cookies loaded on the website? And if they are they blocked by the script of YOOtheme Builder?
No, it's totally server-side. If you're using Essentials, this is an API call done by the server, and it just pulls data and just displays with your front end of choice. So there is no cookie whatsoever pulled from any source. So if you're using sources, it's technically impossible that there is a cookie in the browser of the user for that.
That's very helpful. That's very helpful. Thank you.
These are two big advantages of the sources of YOOtheme or the sources of Essentials, is the fact that there is no cookie, because it's your website fetching the information. It's not the visitor fetching from an external website. Plus, there is a performance improvement, because it can be cached for 1 hour or whatever, depending on what you're fetching. So it means that, you're not calling every time an external website. Everything is locally available within your website, right?
Yeah, just to make a further point here, if you are using the normal Google integration workflow, so you go to backend and click connect, and you go through our page where you connect to the Google APIs, you are using ZOOlanders official Google application. We cannot see anything that goes through, so it's not an issue of privacy. But just so you know, if you are really strict about GDPR stuff, so providers, DPOs, those kind of stuff, you should use your own application, which is possible. It's just under the advanced stuff, because that way you can choose the ownership of the connection, which again, it's not a privacy issue, it's just a bureaucratic chain of ownership stuff. So the really strict way of doing this, if you're really into that, is just to ask the client itself to open the application, so they own the data that's passing through, basically. But again, it's not an issue of cookies or privacy, it's just a matter of legal bureaucracy.
Thanks for clarification. Maybe I will stop the recording now, and we can continue the chat for the people who want to stay a bit longer. Again, Daniele, thank you so much for preparing this session and sharing all those insights about Essentials. And thank you also to Miriam, who was there at the same time during the session and who answered the questions in the chat. We'll be very pleased to see you if you go to the Joomla World Conference or to any other event around the globe.
Thank you.
It's always interesting. And again, thank you very much. And I'm pretty sure then one of these days you will be guests again of this YOOtheme user group, because there are always so many interesting things to say about new features or stuff like that. So thank you again for everyone who attended and for the people who will see this replay. And I turn off the recording now. One sec.
Thank you. So,
can I shoot the question?
Yeah, shoot it. There is another one, so I'll take yours and then I'll answer the chat one. So.
All right. So before this website was launched, this great initiative, thank you for that. I already had the idea because I did a masterclass for the Air Force, also such a website as this, which was very helpful for them because they didn't know how to use everything. And what I think, and I can only hope that you would agree, is like I need some more as a solution provider, like on the very low end, right? You're really the developers that know all these things, but I'm going to have the need that I can implement with certain layouts that are already done with the idea. For example, if you show, for example, a Google Sheet that is connected with a form that can save, if you show that on ZOOlanders, then the idea is born as a solution provider that I should buy your extension. What I need is sort of layouts that I can download, or sort of instructions. Like I sent in the chat a sort of example from somebody else who does that with a tutorial how to build that. Right?
Yes.
Like I'm not stupid, but
we are working on that. It's one of the hardest part of our job because there's a lot of content to produce, right, Million? Million also is developing something outside of ZOOlanders that can also help with that. So yeah, we are aware. We are already producing some new guides to do some of the most like standard stuff, like create a contact form and then add this and that, and then add the source, some of the things you said, as a full-blown guide. So that will help. We are also thinking of leveraging Million project to share pre-made layouts, like classic contact form, stuff like that. But maybe Million can tell you more about it because it's his project. So yes, we are aware of that. We are working on that. It's one of the hardest part of our job, actually.
Yeah, that would convince me to buy your extension. And on top of that, and sorry, Milan, I am very happy to hear what you're going to say, but if I have three choices, the 59 euro for 6 months, or I'm missing one choice where I can get the masterclass every month, where I can just join like today. This is my only opportunity to talk to you guys. There's no other opportunity to even get a glimpse of you guys, right? So when I saw, okay, you're going to do this meeting, I have to be there. Like I dropped everything. Like a few days ago, I saw it by accident. But what I need is just a masterclass on a regular basis so that I understand how to do things. Because your software is so sophisticated, it's just not doable if you're a solution provider. I'm calling myself a solution provider. Maybe I know a little bit more, but you're providing the technique, you're really developers. I'm just a solution provider for a customer that doesn't want to know how I'm doing it, right? So that is also why I'm saying, give me the layouts, right? I'm losing time. I cannot earn money with your extension, if that makes sense. So that's also what I told
it's really clear the need. I mean, the idea is also very good. So we'll talk about it and see what we can do. We are also on Discord, so if you ever want to reach us like more directly, you can find us on Discord for sure. So we'll take that into account as well, because it's a good idea, I think.
But really, like a masterclass, there could be a small topic like your extension. You can have maybe 100 masterclasses about it. But for just a very simple example, like how to build a form that saves, right? And you connect it to Google Sheets, how to do that? Because Joomla does not provide that, right? It is really missing, and that is really like just to show what YOOtheme does. I think it's not good. It is just showing sources. No, I should save sources. That is my biggest thing that I cannot get anywhere. And that's why I need third party everywhere. But with ZOOlanders, I could do it maybe. That's if I would just figure out how. If you would tell me how. I hope I make my point now. It's not to do so stupid, but I'm trying to make
it's really clear your point. So yes, we will take that into really good consideration, because it's a good idea, I think, Miriam, to investigate how to do that.
I mean, it's losing time for you, because for you it's obvious, right? But if I put the whole documentation in ChatGPT, I cannot even figure out that it is possible. And I did that. Trust me, I was very keen, and I did my homework before I even asked this question.
We certainly developed like a platform that allows you to do so many things that is basically maybe impossible to cover it all in the documentation. It's very vast. And yeah, we can do masterclass and teach you, but it's going to take a long time for you to, if you're not really into so technical stuff, and maybe even confuse you even more. So your idea of having layouts, pre-made layouts, is actually what will best fit the majority of users. Maybe
then you have a masterclass. This is the layout. This is how you connect it.
Yeah, I think we can investigate that, Miriam. Something like we can host a webinar or something, then we reuse the video that we did as a video doc, something like that. But we need to like chat about it and see what's the best solution for that. But I think that's the point is trying to make here.
I still want